Good everyone, and welcome to today's video, and today it's a review on the SD KFZ 140-1. Now, my opinions of this tank are very mixed, and, well, what do I mean by mixed? Well, there's good points, there's bad points, and there's also some very critical points to take into account. So obviously this vehicle is based off a Panzer 38TF chassis, so you get the improved armor up to 50mm thick. It is actually quite a strong vehicle in terms of armor for the most part. The turret up at the top, the front is 30mm, the sides are 10, and the rear is 8. Your sides are really your only threat to 50 cal, and obviously most tanks will penetrate you, but you also have a bit of a frontal weak spot in this thing, which I will now show. Obviously you've got 50 there, 30 there, 50 there, but then you've got 15, which is effectively 17, all across here. On the left hand side, obviously, this is when you're looking at the vehicle, is the vehicle's ammo rack. You hit that, this thing's going to pop like a champagne cork. On the right hand side, however, there's literally nothing. There's a small radio, but that's not really what I recommend shooting. If you do not have more than 50mm of penetration, you are going to want to aim here. This will take out the gunner, because obviously this is the gunner's sight right here where my cursor is. And this is the MG42, so don't bother shooting the MG42. Shoot just here, you'll take out the gunner. If you have an APHE round with 15mm of sensitivity, you will also explode here, maybe even kill the driver, and wound the other two crew members that are remaining in the vehicle. I see a lot of players struggling to kill these things, and to be honest, they're actually quite easy to kill if you know what you're doing. So, I'm showing you what to do, basically. So, obviously, as I mentioned, the front of the turret is 30mm thick, the sides are 10, the side of the hull here is 15, the side here is 30, the rear is 30 here, the side or the rear section again is 15, and the rear of the turret is 8. This vehicle is very easily killed by 50 cal. If you know how to shoot with 50 cal, you're going to tear this thing apart. However, most of the time when you see one of these things, it is driven by a veteran player. Now this is where my, shall we say, disapproval of this vehicle comes in. You don't get a lot of gun depression, that's fine. But it's the fact that it's on such a good chassis, it's got pretty good armor in most places. For a new player, this thing's going to be very tough to kill. Because obviously they'll hit the front hull, if it's angled especially, it will bounce. There's not many guns that could go through this armor plating here. But in an up tier that changes, so we won't go over that. But obviously, I use this tank in my seal clubbing lineup as the... Well, this is the queen of the seal clubbing, and there's a reason for that. You get the same 20mm gun as on the Panzer II, which fires HVAP, and this thing's bloody devastating. You hit a Stuart, you could kill a Stuart in 2 hits with the 20mm, if you're careful with the fire rate. You could just go single click to kill the driver and gunner, single click, dead. Crew knocked out. And that's really where this vehicle is very, very noob friendly, shall we say. This is a very good new player friendly vehicle. You can get this vehicle for cheap. I think it's like £4.50, maybe even a fiver. And personally, I think you should if you're a newer player and also a veteran player. However, just bear in mind, you will feel dirty driving this thing. I still do. And well, we're going to go over some weaknesses. Obviously, I've gone over the armor, but there's actually a weak spot that not many people know about. Now, from the basis, it doesn't look like there's a weak spot, is there? Well, she's open topped. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing. First of all, the 20mm and the MG42 both can point up to 70 degrees. Very effective. However, this vehicle has a tall profile for what it is, and it has these small mesh things which let the vehicle obviously bring its gun up, and if these were closed, you wouldn't be able to bring the gun up. These would typically be used to block the crew from shrapnel, but obviously, as you can see in game, they have no armor characteristics whatsoever. If anything, it's just having a giant billboard above your tank saying, "I'm here, bitches, come get me." That's literally what it feels like driving this thing. But with a top speed of 36 miles an hour, which to be honest you won't ever hit, I've barely gotten over 26 in a straight line. It's actually got pretty good mobility as well, and on a decent crew, I've got 6.5 seconds on the reload. I think it could go down to like 6. It is an absolutely devastating vehicle in the right hands. But yeah, if you can get this thing, I highly recommend it. So let's get into the battle and let's have a look at how we did. Obviously, I saved this battle specifically because it shows not only the strengths, but also the weaknesses of this vehicle. And there's actually another one, which I didn't mention in the hangar. When you're shooting at an aircraft as it dives on you, their bullets are flying downward into your crew compartment. Similar to how an anti-aircraft is. So, not only is your 30mm gun shield not protecting your crewmen are going to take some bullets to the face. Let's just say that. But this isn't a very long battle, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it and all that. But this is also a very strange battle. So we start off, obviously, we are in the SD KFZ. We're just driving along, being normal. It doesn't maneuver too badly, I will say that. It is a nice little vehicle to drive. 20mm nice, the MG42 is very nice to have as backup. The 20mm can fire both API, I should say, HE, and HVAP, similar to the Panzer II as I mentioned. I forgot to mention as well the suspension is very spongy. It doesn't like going over bumps all that much. You will lose a lot of speed, and most importantly, your vehicle will bounce like it's a lowrider, so just bear that in mind. But otherwise, I think a new player will do just fine in this thing, and a veteran player will absolutely stomp the living daylights out of anyone. You will struggle against B1 Bizzers, as most vehicles do at this lower BR. However, the 20mm can go through the front plate at 10 meters, and it can go through the turret ring up to around 300, so it's not the biggest end of the world though. Now what I'm actually doing at this point is I'm actually looking to get to one of my favourite spots. Obviously we're not the fastest thing on the battlefield, even though this thing's called a light tank. It's on a light tank chassis, but it doesn't feel like a light tank most of the time. It feels like I'm driving a medium because you get a, I think it's like 12-ton vehicle, and it's got a 160 horsepower engine, so it's not the most powerful, but it gets the job done. That's all that matters to me. So here is one of my favourite spots. You can also sit behind the other side if you're in a fast tank and sit right here, and you can ambush the enemy forces that come driving down the road. It is very useful. But we're not going to be up to much for the first few minutes, and obviously if it was in something like a BT or a Stuart, would have been here way earlier. In fact, I'd have got charging right into this position even if there were tanks here. That's how fast you need to be to get here sometimes. But obviously my team's currently getting, well, shot to shit on the right hand flank, so I think, okay, I'll start moving up. You do get artillery in this vehicle because obviously it is an anti-air, well it's not an anti-air. It is a light tank. A lot of people say it should be used as an anti-aircraft. Ignore them. No, just no. It can be done, yes, but you make yourself look like a twat. But here comes the first few victims of the day. Obviously, driving up, I've obviously seen that B1 Biz, and I'm thinking, right, well, okay, and I'm thinking, well, if I kill off his small fry first, I was waiting for him to stop moving, so then I could shoot him. I just waited, backed up a bit, waited till the BT pulled up out a bit. The B1 kind of reversed for me. I put a shot through the turret ring, and what I really should have done here is drove up on his side and clipped him in the side, but I couldn't be arsed. And what I'm doing at this point is being a bit dirty. The shrapnel actually killed 2 crew members in the first attack, and there we go, first kill. Well, second kill, I should say. Why did I say first kill? That was on a BT. I'm an idiot. But hey, everyone makes mistakes. Next in LVT. I decided to put the last 2 rounds in his crew compartment, which do basically nothing. Apparently I have more rounds, because the replay is showing I have more rounds. I use the MG42 to finish off the LVT there. It is a very effective machine gun. It cleans up light targets so well, and it even destroys aircraft just as effectively. There's a H-39, obviously not the Cambron, which Dave Schilling loves. Dave Schilling loves that tank. It's a very nice little tank. I like it myself. I'm being sarcastic there, he doesn't like it. 4th kill. But obviously you can hear overhead, there are actually aircraft up. I think it's actually a friendly aircraft if I remember rightly. I've turned off the side markers just to give you a bit more field of view. If you want me to keep doing that in replay files, I will. Just do let me know. So now we're moving up again, we're going back to our original position. I believe that's my last tank kill for the game, if I remember correctly. But we're moving back to my original position. And, well, DTT will like this tank, how I've got it, because, well, got some hits on the BB1. MG42 finishes him off. He got set on fire. It is gorgeous to have that sort of thing. Now you can see why I say the MG42 is very effective as an anti-aircraft weapon. If someone said to me, put 4 MG42s on the back of a half track, I'd have it any day of the week at battle rating 12.3, and I would club with it. So that's the BB1 gun. That is our first air kill of the game. But obviously there's nothing on this side. It seems the Allies just didn't want to push down this side. It's as quiet as a mouse, which is unusual. Normally you see 2 or 3 tanks, maybe even a B1 Biz pushing this side, but no, nothing. Now you can see what I mean by this battle's being strange, because normally the enemies just rush this side like a boss. But no, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Apparently I only have one ammo left. I can assure you I have a full clip. So obviously I'm moving up. Obviously the B point is about to get captured. I have obviously been dropping artillery. And obviously there you can see an I-15. Start firing the MG42. I think I got a couple of hits, but it didn't really matter. Now from this position you can obviously support the B point, but you are exposed behind yourself, and the turret traverse on this thing is debatable at best. It's okay, gets the job done, but it certainly isn't the greatest, I'll tell you that much. But obviously we're moving back to our original position. I've decided at this point, well, I'm worried about my rear. I might as well go back to my original position, see what I can find. And if there's any aircraft, I'll still see them, and I'll still have a good field of fire. But here you can see, top speed of 36, get lost. I barely did 21 there. I think the top speed is around about 22, but 26 will probably be the most, and even then you'll have to push it off a slight cliff to get that. So if you buy this thing for Stuart-like mobility, don't. If you buy this thing to Sealclub, yeah, that's pretty much what this thing's not really used for anymore. Sealclubbing. It is a dirty tank though. It honestly is a dirty tank. But if anyone says use it as an anti-air all game, ignore them please. And please gain the lost brain cells you had from interacting with that individual, is all I'll say. Next to a TBD Devastator. So I'm trying to lead him with a 20mm. I suck with using the 20mm and anti-aircraft roll. The MG42 is just as effective. So obviously he's seen me, he's probably going to want to bomb me, so I start moving. And he takes out my gunner. Remember what I said about people getting arc downward shots into the crew compartment? That is why. As I said, this free play would show the strengths and weaknesses of this vehicle. And that was the point. I wanted to show that. Get some good hits into his airframe with the 20mm. Now we're down to the single crew member in the... Well, obviously we've got a single gunner. Our loader's actually dead, but he's going to be replaced by the machine gunner in just a few seconds. That's the TBD Devastator will be coming back. I don't know why the replay's not showing he's been replaced, because he has been replaced at this point. I have a pretty skilled crew on this vehicle, so I don't get why it's not showing, but yeah, whatever. Guys are their usual bugs. Can never have enough bugs. I've just changed that quote from Borderlands 2. It's when no, Borderlands 1. It's when you used to open a chest of weapons with Roland as the character, he would say, "Can never have enough stuff." And well, Gaijin's logic is clearly, can never have enough bugs, because there's a lot of bugs. Let's just say that. If I was a developer at Gaijin and I saw the game in this bad nick, I'd say, fuck it, we've repaired it for a few years. Get them bugs fixed, boy. But yeah, I do personally recommend this vehicle to anyone who's brand new to Germany. If you assemble a decent lineup with the DO 17Z7, the HS123, the CR42 Falco as air support, have this and the Panzer IV-C, you're pretty much golden. You've pretty much formed your own baby clubbers lineup right there. Because the Panzer IV combines decent armor, decent gun, decent heat, smoke grenades, and this thing combines tank destroying capability, rapid fire, good mobility, I mean not great, but good enough, and anti-aircraft potential. So essentially, by doing that, you've killed multiple birds with one stone. So... But at this point, there's not really anything to shoot at, unfortunately. Until this poor sod turns up, and it turns out I did have a bit more 10 kills. I forget things. That was only a single shot, just to point out. The 20mm doesn't shrapnel that much, but it gets the job done, to be honest. Like I said, I don't really remember this battle that well. It's been a while since I looked at it, but even so, that was our ace for tank forces, obviously, not for planes, because I count them as separate, because I'm weird. Nothing wrong with being weird. But if I remember rightly, there's going to be an F3F just before the end of the game. Or a TBD of some description, I can't remember. I know for a fact in one of the battles I had, I nearly got killed by an F3F, but whatever. Here comes the TBD. And you can see it there, this thing just tears apart aircraft. One second there, that L3, and I was panicking then, but that is pretty much the end of the contribution to the battle as a whole. So, the SD KFZ 140-1, obviously, it is a ridiculous vehicle. And fun fact for those of you that don't actually know, this turret that's on this thing is actually used on the SD KFZ 234 Puma, the -1 variant, and the SD KFZ 222 armored car. So Gaijin, where the fuck are those? I'd love to drive those. Puma with a 20mm and an SDK, or a Squeezy Boy with a rapid 20mm on it. Gimme. But yeah, if you've got a bit of money lying around and you want yourself a cheap, fun premium, or you're just starting out as Germany, this thing is a perfect option. It honestly is. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the SD KFZ 140, and I will catch you all on the next one.